Hi, welcome back to the garden. What a difference a day makes. It's beautiful this morning. We had light showers. Now I think it's time to get to work. It's Saturday, and you know what Saturday means. We're going to do a quick review of this garden, then we're going to go to you and celebrate what's going on in your garden. As the watermelons start vining across the gate, I thought we ought to define where our walkway was. It's turning into a little jungle. Just think, it wasn't very many days ago, I didn't think anything was going to grow. But we do this every year. A little patience, a little sunshine, a little rain, and it always grows. At least something. Well, while I start opening these bags, let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of our friends and neighbors around the world. Larry's North Carolina sunset highlights a day of enjoying his in-ground container garden. Everything is thriving and making fruit. Larry, that is an impressive mix of peppers, and your okra looks very tasty. Thank you for the update. Your garden has been a delight to watch mature this year. Art hasn't decided whether his volunteer sunflowers are invasive or a blessing, but look how well they're growing in his deep mulch raised beds, almost as good as his giant turnips. Art, I'm glad to see that your tomatoes have started to turn, and that is a great example of the harvest you get out of your deep mulch garden. Thank you, Art. Weren't those terrific? Our friends and neighbors are absolutely spectacular. This is what gives me the motivation to come out here and do this every day. Let's go ahead and take a look at a couple more. Marie wanted to share some from her garden in Jamaica, where she has no soil, just rocks, and achieves all of this in containers. This is very impressive, Marie, and I'm glad you joined this informal group. I have linked Marie's channel in the description box below. After we finish celebrating today's gardens, you might want to visit Marie's garden. Blake's first time gardening left him a bit unsure in the beginning. Blake, you've done a wonderful job, and the verdict is in. Success. We look forward to seeing a full-scale garden next year. Thank you. Yeah, before you got here, I went ahead and cleaned up some of these green greens. I don't know how we're going to tell if they're ripe. They're supposed to be green, and they're already green. If you hit the like button, it would tell YouTube to push this out to more people that might want to learn how to garden. And our friends and neighbors are certainly inspiring. You can join us too. We're just a loose-knit community of people that like to get our hands dirty and grow things that taste good. Let's go ahead and take a look at a couple more of our friends and neighbors. As Walter put it this morning, his small vegetable garden is turning into a jungle. But just look at that use of space and all of that production. That's such an inspiration, Walter, and very innovative to get so much out of such a small space. Thank you for the great ideas. Summer has had a bunch of rain, but wanted to make sure we saw the hard work she's been putting in her beautiful garden. She's also picked a fast-growing pumpkin for fall harvest. Thank you, Summer, for sharing. Your hard work shows. These are just absolutely wonderful, and I invite you to join us and let us celebrate what's going on in your garden. Right here we had a pepper that got snapped off on the growth node right there during that windstorm. And it's bushing out, and it's coming back nicely. I would never suggest you prune your peppers this dramatically, but when it looked like all hope was lost, it's still going to grow. Peppers are pretty resilient. If you prune them a little bit, you're not going to hurt them. Let's go ahead and take a look at a couple more while I finish spreading out the wood shavings, or sawdust as it were, and mulching in around a few things that still need to have mulch around them. The North Carolina climate has treated Rick's squash well. Your onions and potatoes are coming in nicely. I'm happy to see that your tomatoes and peppers are filling out well, and we look forward to those bushel harvests. Thank you, Rick. Charlie's Oklahoma garden is going bananas. Charlie is a new friend to our group and sent a few examples of what you can find on his channel. I am glad to link his garden in the description box below. Thank you, Charlie, for sharing. This is awesome. And just like that, we've got our path defined going into our sweet potato patch, which I see a couple things we want to look at. Now, of course, those aren't sweet potatoes. And this vine is definitely not a cabbage. So we got a couple amaranth. We had amaranth seeds everywhere. I did that on purpose. It's a really good ground cover. You can eat the entire plant, and it makes great seeds. All three of these volunteers came up where I'd moved the mulch back, one to plant cabbage over here, and one to plant the sweet potatoes. When we saw it was germinating, we went ahead and left the ones we liked. Then we mulched back, stopped the rest of the weeds. And we do like these amaranth. They're gonna get pretty good size. And who doesn't like a volunteer cantaloupe? Although some of it's gonna probably be growing inside of the sweet potato patch, and I'll get scolded for that, I'm sure. Let's go ahead and take a look at a few more of our friends and neighbors. We didn't forget Nora's weekly contribution to help with landscape ideas. Nora doesn't suggest that you add a rabbit to your landscape, but it does visit from time to time. Nora, you have a great eye. Thank you for the inspiration and the ideas. This is wonderful. Go ahead and subscribe and leave a comment down below and let everybody know just how much you appreciate them sharing what's going on in their garden. All right, I discovered in that windstorm, this vine got twisted and then it sank and then it popped up. I don't think it's getting enough water to support everything, so we took off any wilty vines. But we'd sure like to have this thing mature. If I could do it over again, I would have trellised the zucchini, which I meant to, and not this. But we'll see what we get. But by cleaning it up, hopefully we'll be able to keep this going long enough that it might ripen. And this zucchini down in here would have been a great candidate, but we've got another one of the Kershaws right there, and that's got some nice green stripes on it, so we'll see what we get. I'm gonna have to come out here and pick some squash here in a little bit. But let's go ahead and take a look at a couple more of our friends and neighbors around the world. Has anyone ever said you can't have enough beets? Greg is also a newer friend of this community, and I am happy to add his link in the description box below. Thank you, Greg. Now you can do this too. On the basil, at this point of the year, they really start trying to put the flowers on. Never be afraid to prune heavy. Oh, once they start putting on flowers, you really got to pay attention. So I think we got this cleaned up pretty good. Just overnight, they're ready to come in. Let's head on down to Texas and take a look at one of our long-term contributors. It's a special day. I'm sitting in front of the lotus on purpose. Valerie, this is terrific. Awesome, that lotus is spectacular. I am tickled pink that those seeds finally bloomed. I think the wait was definitely worth it, don't you? Valerie, I know a lot of your vegetables are finishing up this round, and your harvests have been incredible, and I know they're going to continue to be incredible. Valerie wanted to remind us, if you want to keep it going, you have to have some seeds started and ready to replace all your harvests. That's a great tip as the summer just gets started. I really am happy about that lotus. Congratulations. Look at that harvest. Your garden is simply blessed. Thank you for the inspiration. On this first day of July, let's take a look at a few things you can still get in the ground and still have a decent harvest. And we're going to continue to succession plant several of these throughout August. We got beans, got cucumbers, zucchini, we've got carrots, green onions, and beets. Still have time to plant a tomato clone. crookneck squash. And as I harvest the carrot seeds this weekend, we're going to plant corn right here. It's also time to go ahead and start some cabbage inside. In a month or so, we'll be ready to bring them out here where the temperature is going to be favorable. There's quite a bit we can plant right now. There's quite a bit we'll plant at the end of this month. There's still some we'll plant at the beginning of next month. But if you've been following my story, you know we plant all year round. I haven't decided exactly where we're going to put the next cold frame. We're getting kind of packed right now and I can't really envision it today, but I'll figure it out. You can do this too. With just a little bit of planting, zone 6 on down, you ought to be able to eat out of your garden all year round. These beet seeds are ready to start coming in, and these carrot pods that have already bloomed, they're ready to come in. We've got a little work ahead of us this weekend. And once again, I've been told I haven't promoted myself well enough. Although we just crossed 20,000 subscribers, and I want to thank you for that. Over half the folks that view what we do and leave comments aren't subscribed. You'd really help the channel out if you'd subscribe, and you wouldn't hurt my feelings either. But I do want to thank you for stopping by and celebrating our friends and neighbors around the world and what they do in their garden. Their work, it's amazing. You can do this too, and I invite you to join us. If you want to learn more about the deep mulch, click that link right there and I'll meet you back here in the garden. If you want to learn about the living soil, click that link right there and I'll meet you right back here in the garden. And until next time, remember, take care of yourself, take care of your family, and God bless you. Come on, let's plant. Let's go plant garden.